to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash.
May God reward your bravery.
Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. The film The Long Walk begins with a man named Ray receiving an official notice. It congratulates him for being accepted into a deadly competition known as the Long Walk. The entire country is set to watch the event unfold on live broadcast, and the prize promises more than money, fame, fortune, and even a single wish granted to the last man standing. Later on, Ray prepares to leave with his mother by his side. As they travel, the world's grim state is revealed. Years earlier, a massive war shattered the nation, leaving cities in ruins and families struggling to survive. For many, the Long Walk is their only shot at escaping poverty, but only 50 young men are chosen each year. Ray's mother, who is terrified of losing him, begs him to change his mind. But he refuses, insisting that he needs to go through with this. When they arrive at their destination, she holds him tightly, but he promises to return back to her and leaves. Soon after, Ray meets another contestant named Peter McVice. The two become fast friends and quickly join the other walkers, including Hank Baker Stebbins and the youngest participant, Curly. Before long, the mastermind behind the Long Walk finally makes his appearance, known only as the Major. He steps forward and begins calling out the names of the contestants one by one. Each boy steps out of the line, accepts a metal tag, and returns to his place. When all 50 are accounted for, the Major takes a moment to address them. He reminds the group that the country has never fully recovered from the war. Towns are broken, industry is weak, and people are restless. Yet, every year, the Long Walk sparks excitement, lifting spirits and restoring a sense of order. According to him, the true sickness of the nation isn't poverty, but laziness. That's why this event exists, to remind everyone that discipline and endurance are the key to survival. Once the speech is over, he explains the rules in precise detail. Each participant must keep walking at no less than 3 miles an hour. If one of them slows down, a warning will be given. A second slip means another warning. On the third, they are in serious trouble, and if they fail again, they will be permanently removed from the contest. There is no finish line, no stopping point, and only one survivor. With that, the Major raises his pistol and fires into the air, officially starting the walk. The 50 boys then move forward, followed by several trucks full of armed soldiers. Ray comments how empty and bleak the landscape looks, and a competitor named Barkovich answers that the Major doesn't allow crowds until later, though locals can watch from the side if they happen to live along the route. Cameras, however, are everywhere, capturing every step for the viewers at home. By the time they've reached the 7-mile mark, the walkers begin chatting about the grand prize. Baker admits that his only motivation is money, but Ray disagrees, saying, "Wealth isn't the only thing worth fighting for." Not long after, another contestant named Harkness appears, carrying a small notebook. He carefully notes down everyone's name and number, explaining that he's writing a book about the Long Walk. If he survives, it will make him rich and famous. But Peter points out that if Harkness actually wins, he won't need the book to be remembered. Meanwhile, the youngest walker, Curly, starts stumbling. Pain shoots through his legs and he can barely stay upright. Ray catches his arm to keep him moving, while Peter offers words of encouragement, but Curly is in so much pain that he soon collapses on the road. When he still doesn't get up after the 3 warnings, a soldier approaches and brutally ends him with a gunshot. The sight leaves Ray so horrified that he accidentally slows down, prompting a soldier to issue him a warning as well. But before any damage is done, Peter quickly pulls him forward. The Major makes an announcement about the fallen boy and tells the rest of them to keep moving since more deaths are bound to happen. After covering more distance, the group reaches the 17-mile mark. Ray admits he has already been worn out for a while and is unsure how much longer he can push himself. But Peter advises him not to think about the end and to just keep going one moment at a time. As the hours pass, Ray, Peter, Hank, and Baker start growing closer and form a good bond. But just when everything seems fine, the heat and exhaustion overwhelm contestant number 1. His body gives out and he collapses into a seizure on the road. Some walkers are worried for him, but Barkovich laughs and mocks the boy's suffering. The soldiers issue the warnings, and when the boy doesn't recover, he is executed. Surprisingly, Barkovich celebrates the death, telling everyone they should be happy since it improves their odds of winning. By the time they reach the 25-mile point, Barkovich turns his attention to a boy named Rank. First, he mocks the boy's name. Then, he crosses the line by insulting his mother. Rank loses his temper and swings at Barkovich, but he misses and falls badly to the ground. The others shout at him to get up, but he can't do so in time, and soon the soldiers shoot him. The sight makes Ray and Peter furious, and they accuse Barkovich of murder. But the psychopath insists it was not his fault since he never even touched the boy. Later, another contestant becomes desperate to relieve himself. He cannot keep walking and slows down. The soldiers begin warning him, and when he fails to move, he is shot down in humiliation as he wets himself in front of everyone. Night eventually falls, and the boys are running on nothing but sheer willpower. Rye starts drifting off and even dreams about his mother. But Peter shakes him awake and tells him to keep his focus. Rye confesses how badly he misses her, and Peter tries to reassure him by saying he will see her again soon. As the hours drag on, Rye slows down without realizing it and receives a second warning. Not long after, he stumbles again and gets his third. It is then revealed that 3 warnings can only be cleared if a contestant keeps walking without mistakes for 3 full hours. Peter tries to help and encourage him, but Rye snaps back, accusing him of pretending to care. He claims Peter secretly wants him to collapse so his own chances of winning will go up. The walkers soon face a steep hill, and the climb proves deadly for several of them, who slow down too much and get executed on the spot. Rye pushes forward with all his strength but nearly gives up halfway. At that moment, Peter grabs him and steadies him, urging him not to stop. Rye is moved by this and apologizes for lashing out earlier, saying he didn't mean what he said. Peter tells him not to worry and helps him catch his breath. By the next day, the group has covered 59 miles, and Rye starts to fade again, asking Peter to keep talking so he doesn't lose focus. Rye then admits that he wants to win, not only to survive, but also because he feels he has a greater purpose. At around the 67-mile mark, Hank is barely hanging on. His steps are weak and shaky, and though Peter tries to check in with him, Hank only snaps back with insults before stumbling forward. Harkness, meanwhile, is in worse shape. His ankle is twisted and he struggles to keep pace. He earns a warning for slowing down, and Rye tries to encourage him, but his body fails him completely. With his warnings gone, he is executed by the soldiers. Rye and Peter are crushed by his death, but Barkovich mocks them, suggesting they write a poem or a song in memory of their friend. Peter loses his temper and once again calls him a murderer, which sparks another heated argument. When the group finally hits the 100-mile milestone, the major congratulates them for lasting so long, but the moment is cut short when one desperate boy suddenly bolts toward a nearby building, hoping to escape. He is gunned down before even reaching the door. At 103 miles, the surviving boys begin discussing what they would wish for if they managed to win. Baker says he would ask for a rocket to travel to the moon, while Hank cheekily declares that he wants 10 naked women. Peter jokes that he wishes for 2 winners instead of 1. When Rye's turn comes, he says he would want to change the entire system. The others quickly point out that it's impossible since wishes cannot directly alter the state. Fueled by frustration, the group starts shouting and cursing the major and the whole long walk. That night, it rains heavily, making everyone really wet. Rye struggles to keep his eyes open, so Peter lets him lean against his shoulder to get a few moments of rest while still walking. By the time day 3 begins, they have already crossed 144 miles, and their condition is worsening fast. During a rare, quiet moment, Rye opens up to Peter about his past. He explains that his father used to teach him about philosophy, music, and other subjects that were banned by the authorities. The government viewed such teachings as treason. And one day, the major himself confronted his father, demanding that he swear loyalty to the state and abandon his forbidden lessons. His father refused, which led to his immediate execution. Rye eventually reveals that the real reason he joined the long walk is to kill the major and avenge his father's death. If he wins, he plans to request a carbine rifle as his prize and use it against the man who executed his father. By the time they reach 170 miles, the brutality of the event only worsens. One walker, completely drained, stumbles toward the soldiers and begs for help. The soldiers respond by striking him down and crushing him beneath a tank. Not long after, another contestant loses his mind, strips off his clothes, and wanders in the wrong direction. The soldiers open fire and shoot him without hesitation. Later that night, after covering 201 miles, Stebbins approaches Rye with grim news. Hank is on the verge of collapse. Rye hurries to encourage him, but Hank turns away and calmly walks toward the soldiers. He is executed on the spot, leaving the group stunned. Baker, unable to control himself, breaks formation and tries to reach his fallen friend, and the soldiers immediately start issuing him warnings. Thankfully, before he can get himself killed, Rye grabs him and drags him forward, yelling that Hank is gone and nothing can be done. The next day begins, and the group has already passed 209 miles. The only survivors left are Rye, Peter, Barkovich, Stebbins, Baker, and Parker. When they realize that Hank was the only one among them who had a wife waiting for him, they agree that the winner must make sure she receives money from the prize. None of them ask Barkovich to contribute, which clearly isolates him. Feeling left out, Barkovich approaches Rye and admits that he is haunted by guilt over Hank's death. He apologizes and asks to be accepted into the group. Rye allows it, but soon after, Barkovich's behavior turns bizarre. His mind begins to unravel, and in a shocking outburst, he rushes ahead and stabs himself in the throat. The soldiers quickly finish him off while the others, shaken to their core, have no choice but to keep walking. That night, the exhausted group begins singing together to lift their spirits and keep moving. By day 5, they have already reached 278 miles, and the route now passes through the town where Ray's mother lives. Parker points out that Ray is lucky to see his mom again, but Peter insists it's actually a curse, as it will only make things harder for him. At 286 miles, they finally arrive at Ray's hometown. One of Ray's boots splits apart, and Baker advises him to remove both shoes, warning that unbalanced steps will drain him even faster. Soon, Ray spots his mother in the crowd. At first, he waves from a distance, but unable to hold back, he runs toward her and begs for a hug. The reckless move earns him repeated warnings, and his mother begs him to leave before he's killed. Just as the soldiers prepare to fire, Peter yanks Ray back into line, forcing him to keep moving and saving him from certain death. After passing through Ray's hometown, Peter finally opens up about his own painful past. He tells Ray that he has been walking for as long as he can remember, ever since losing his parents in the war. After that, he was taken in by his uncle who beat him until he died when Peter was only 10. Left on his own, Peter joined other street kids and survived by stealing and fighting. One fight ended badly when a boy slashed him with a knife, leaving a scar. He woke up in a hospital afterward, but instead of blaming the attacker, he blamed himself. From that day on, he made a vow that no matter how dark things got, he would always try to find light. He explains that if he wins, he wants to use the prize money to help orphan children like him, which leaves Rye deeply moved. By the time they reach 306 miles, Stebbins warns the group that no one should help each other anymore. Everyone agrees, though it feels cold and harsh. Soon after, Baker's nose starts bleeding badly, but nobody steps in because of the rule. Then Parker suddenly snaps. He lunges at a soldier, grabs his rifle, and kills him on the spot. Parker then commits the unthinkable, which leaves his friends horrified. That evening, Baker's nosebleed gets worse, and Peter and Ray break the rule by helping him along. But Baker knows he won't last. He hands them a locket and begs them to give it to his grandmother if they make it through. He also makes them promise not to turn around when he's executed. They try to keep him walking, but Baker refuses. His body gives out, and the soldiers end his life brutally. By nightfall, the walk has reached 326 miles. Only Ray, Peter, and Stebbins remain, crossing a long bridge under the Major's watch. Ray snaps and starts shouting insults at the Major, but the old man only smirks, saying this rage is exactly the kind of killer instinct he looks for in a winner. That's when Stebbins reveals the truth. He is actually the Major's illegitimate son. He says his wish was to live in his father's house, but now his body is failing him. He tells Peter and Rye that it has been an honor to walk with them and wishes them luck before stopping and allowing the soldiers to shoot him. Now only Ray and Peter remain. The rain pours down as they marched side by side. Peter admits that as a child he was terrified of dying. But after seeing so many boys perish, he has come to realize that death is the one certainty in life and the only thing you can choose is how you face it. At 331 miles, the two reach a town where crowds cheer wildly, eager to see which one will survive. Peter suddenly stops and says he wants to give up so that Ray can win and return to his mother. But Ray refuses and urges Peter to keep walking, promising they will go on together. Peter takes a few more steps forward, unaware that Ray has actually stopped behind him. With 3 warnings already stacked against him, Ray is immediately executed. The soldier's bullets tear through him, and the Major delivers the final shot himself. When Peter realizes what happened, he breaks down while the crowd roars in celebration of his so-called victory. The Major then steps forward and congratulates him on becoming the winner of the long walk. He asks what Peter's wish will be. Struggling to stay composed, Peter asks for a soldier's carbine, saying he wants to pass it down to his future children as a symbol. The soldiers hesitate to hand it over, but the Major insists, claiming Peter won't hurt anyone since he's a man who wants to make the world better. As soon as Peter grips the rifle, he raises it and points it straight at the Major. The old man tries to calm him, urging him not to waste his victory, but a grief-stricken Peter says, "This is for Ray," before pulling the trigger, killing the Major instantly. The movie closes with Peter dropping the weapon and walking alone down the rain-soaked. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos. See you next time.